Well, I have met most of you, but not all of you. But let me introduce myself. I'm Connie. I am going to be a therapist today. And I understand that one of the reasons we're come together this evening was to discuss some issues that y'all have been dealing with in the workplace, mainly with anxiety, a lot of issues, a lot of change, and that thought it'd be therapeutic just to kind of meet as a group to discuss how you're coping with it and maybe see what we can do to help, make things a little better for you. So my role in this is really just to be a facilitator and try to keep things moving. So I will let you guys do most of the talking, and you may notice that I may not always be looking directly at you. I might be looking at someone else to see how they're responding to what you're saying. But why don't we just go ahead and just take a quick moment to go around the room and we'll introduce ourselves. But before we do that, I just want you to think of a word. One word that describes how you feel right now. One word. You want to start?
Terrible.
Terrible. That's a pretty profound word. And what is your name?
Kevin.
Kevin. Kevin, terrible.
Confused.
Confused. And what is your name?
Emily.
Emily. Emily, confused. Okay, we have confused and
Terrible.
terrible. Okay, we're doing good so far.
Preoccupied Rhonda.
Preoccupied Rhonda. Okay, I like that. What about
Frustrated Don.
frustrated Don? I'm gonna hope I remember all you guys' names. And
Clumsy Carrie.
Clumsy Carrie. Okay, so we got Clumsy Carrie, and we have frustrated Don,
Right.
preoccupied Rhonda, and
Confused Emily.
confused Emily, and
Terrible Kevin.
Kevin. I better write these down. Well, those are all interesting, I guess, adjectives to describe how you're feeling right now, and it sounds like you all have a little bit of something in common, because all of those were negative words. Do y'all agree? Those weren't a positive word, those were all pretty negative. So hopefully in coming and meeting with us, we will be able to accomplish, being able to move forward and see if we can work together to help change your word to a more positive, identifying word for who you are. So I just wanted to take a moment just to kind of tell you a little bit about what the group will, some rules that we need to go over quickly. We all signed a confidential agreement before we came in the room, and just want to remind everybody that what is said in here is kept within these walls. We want this to be a safe place, a place where you can feel like you can trust one another to say what you want to say. And sometimes that's going to take time for you to feel comfortable doing that, but hopefully with time and the more we get together, y'all feel more comfortable expressing your thoughts. Also, a quick reminder is if you have any cell phones, you might want to turn them on vibrate. I understand sometimes there are emergencies and you may have to get up and leave, but if you do, just try to do it quietly. There are bathrooms down the hall. If you have to come late, I know sometimes that it is challenging getting to meetings on time, but if you happen to come late, just try to be as quiet as you can to enter, but do make it a priority if you can to be here on time. It's just less disruptive, and we have limited time to be together. So I guess I'd like to know a little bit about what you expect from coming to our session tonight. Would anyone like to start?
I don't know what to expect because I've never been to one of these.
You don't know what to expect.
No. Didn't really want to be here, but I was encouraged to come.
Well, I think that shows an initiative on your part that at least you're willing to see what will happen here and might be pleasantly surprised.
Might, but probably not.
Well, we're going to try to think positive. All right. How about you? What do you hope to accomplish?
Just to get more focused, get goals in order, my priorities in order, so I don't feel so preoccupied with so many things. Just try to get organized.
Try to get organized. And, you know, you can feel so much better when you feel like you can stay on task, right?
I've never felt that before, but it sounds good.
Well, we're gonna work on that. So maybe other people in the group can have some suggestions as we progress to see if we can help your issues.
Good.
How about you, Emily?
That's exactly why I was here. Hopefully someone has some suggestions for me. With my confusion and everything that's going on at work and the new things that we're doing, and maybe I can get some suggestions from people here.
Okay. Well, confusion is a scary feeling for you.
Yes, it is.
So you hope to have a little bit of peace of mind if you can figure out how to handle that, right?
Yes.
Okay, well hopefully that is something that we'll be able to do in our group.
I hope so.
Okay, what about you, Kevin?
My expectations are similar to Dawn's. I don't think there's anything that anybody can say or do that will help, but I will try.
Well, I'm proud that you took the steps to come. And you know, it's never easy to come to a group. I know some of you know each other, some of you don't. And it kind of makes it hard, you know, when you're working with, you know, you come with a group of strangers that you don't know, but then on the other hand, you might know another coworker in the room, and you don't want them to know something that, you know, is bothering you. So hopefully we'll be able to move past that to make this an effective group, because the whole point of coming to the group is to be able to help alleviate some of the concerns and anxieties that you've been having in your life, and particularly your work, it sounds like right now. So I guess what I'd like to do is just get a feeling, if you don't mind starting, Carrie, has there been a time recently when your anxiety, you know, was better than it, you know, is? Like a particular good day, something may have happened that made it different,
Where was better?
then it was better.
Well, actually, this morning there was a really nice employee that gave me a very warm welcome as I walked into the office, which has been the opposite. So it was very much appreciated. So I had good feelings.
So you felt good.
So yes,
Now, did you say, are you new in your job?
yes, I'm new right now. So I'm the fish out of water, the new person, you know, experiencing the growing pains of the office, knowing me who I am, expectations, just unity within the group, where do I fit in?
Well, that sounds like something we definitely probably want to explore more, you know, as we progress. But we'll just go ahead and kind of take an opportunity to go around the room and give everyone a chance to kind of say what's on your mind and kind of tell us, how about you, Dawn? You know, your descriptive word was, I better be writing these down. I was going to take notes.
Frustrated.
Frustrated, Dawn. Well, Dawn, was there a time recently that you did not feel frustrated on your issues at your workplace? Is that right?
Anytime I'm away from here, I feel better.
That says a lot. So do you find anything in particular that helps alleviate that frustration when you're here at your job?
Just staying to myself.
Staying to yourself.
Yeah.
And that helps.
No, but it's better than the alternative.
Well, so you say to yourself, that works, but does that really take care of your problem?
No.
No. Do you have a
There's
thought
a
of
certain
what would-
coworker here that I just have a real problem with, and until I can figure out what to do with it, I just stay frustrated.
Well, I do want to say, before we go too much farther, that we just want to be respectful of each other while we're here in this room. And I know sometimes we can let our feelings just out there on the line, but we just want to know that we're here to hopefully strengthen one another and, you know, Kevin might say something that might be offensive to you, but at the same time, you know, those things need to be kept to a certain level. So just try to be respectful and also of each other's time. So, you know, if, you know, Rhonda, if you were to talk, you know, and start dominating our conversation and our session, then I may have to just ask you, you know, very nicely if we can just kind of keep that conversation to, limit the conversations because we're in a place where we don't have a lot of time, so.
Well, I haven't said anything much yet,
That is true.
but she will.
So do you know Rhonda?
I do. I used to work with her. We were in the same, area
Mm.
of our job.
And was that a positive experience?
Yeah, it was positive. I just couldn't get a word in edgewise.
That's not respectful in a group. We were talking about that, weren't we?
That is true. If, you know, when you talk and you said, you know, that you could not get a word in with Rhonda, that sounds like that's been a problem you've had. Why don't you just say that directly to Rhonda? You don't tell me, you tell Rhonda, so y'all can address that, you know, very
I
quickly.
just felt like I couldn't get in a word in and always talking. I felt like my feelings weren't heard.
That's how I get my stress out. I have to talk it out, talk it out, talk it out. I've got a lot going on, but I do apologize for not listening to you, but again, I have to talk it out. In fact, I have something to say right now, because I work 3 jobs, and then I've got my husband at home, he's at brain surgery, I'm thinking of retiring, but I've got student loans, I went to college when I was like 50 years old, I've got a lot of pressure as working as a social worker, a lot of demands, I'm trying to do things at my church, but, so I'm trying to cut back, but financially don't want to.
Well, Rhonda,
So
you
it's
know,
just a big circle for me, and I just want to not feel so preoccupied. So if I keep talking about it, that's my solution. If I talk and talk, that's what helps me, and that's why I did that. And I'm
Well,
sorry, and I
Rhonda,
won't do it
you said
again.
it,
I'm sorry.
we know you had a lot of anxiety, and we're definitely not going to make light of that because it's obvious that, you know, it's just upsetting for you just to start talking about all the anxiety that you're experiencing. But why don't we take a deep breath, try to relax. And some of those issues that you brought up, maybe we can discuss those further maybe in another session that we'll have in the future. But just kind of concentrate on this session on the problems that we're having. You know, can I say something?
Thank you.
I've got toilet paper back there.
And you know, it's healthy to cry, and there might be times when what is said in this session could be something that brings on emotion, and that's okay. So don't be afraid. Hopefully you'll be comfortable to express your feelings with us. But we just want you to know that we're just here to try to support each other. But for the session for today, why don't we just kind of talk about what's going on in the workplace and see if we can move on with that. And then we can kind of take some of these other issues that's going on in your life and it sounds like we probably have a lot in common in this room. And try to move forward with kind of one subject at a time. And then as we progress, we can go in more detail with some of the other concerns that you may have. Does that sound okay to you? Okay. Well, Kevin, you've been kind of quiet. Now, has there been a time recently when your anxiety was not as great as it is today? And what makes it different?
Not in the near future, so can't access that if it was.
So there's nothing that you can relate to recently that was less stressful in your life that may have made a difference with your job?
Nope.
Well, sometimes we do have those times when there's nothing you can think that's positive, and that's okay. you know, we respect that. But hopefully by the end of the session, maybe something will come to mind. You think you will?
Nope. But I will, ponder.
But you're gonna keep an open mind, that's a
Mhm.
start.
I'll keep an open mind.
All right. When we come together as a group, there are certain things that we can address while we're here. And, I had a little exercise I thought maybe we could try. Just to kind of get us kind of open and talking. So if you just take that and maybe, that's not something you have to, you know, ponder on, just the first thing that comes to your mind. And then maybe we can just go around the room and share what we put. So I'll just take maybe a couple minutes just to look at them, and we'll see what y'all come up with. Well, I know our time is kind of limited, but why don't we just maybe pick maybe the first two and see what your response is. Who would like to start?
Me.
Okay, Rhonda?
When I enter a new group, I feel curious.
Curious. I like that word. So why did you choose that word?
I just wonder what people's stories are and what's gonna happen in the group.
Kind of like an adventure?
Yeah, like I hope I can learn something, how to cope.
So that sounds like you're looking for definitely a positive experience, right? Okay. What about you, Dom? Would you like to share?
Yeah, when I enter a new group, I feel ambiguous.
Now, can you go in a little bit more detail on why you picked that word?
Yeah, 'cause sometimes when I'm in with a new group, I do all right. Other times, not a good experience. So, I'm not sure what's gonna happen in this one.
Well, in saying that, you know I said at the beginning that, you know, the most important thing that we want to achieve in these sessions is for you to feel safe and that you can trust the members in this group to share whatever you happen to have on your mind at the time. So I think that is a lot of faith on our part that that is what, you know, we can accomplish here. So I would recommend that we'll keep this a close group. Maybe as we get to know each other, it can be a decision that we don't have any members join our group. If we get comfortable, then would that be something that y'all would want to do possibly? Maybe meet a couple times and see how we're doing, and if you would prefer not to have new members join, we'll just keep it just these members that are here today. Does that sound like something that y'all would want to do?
Okay.
But it's really your decision at this point. Okay. Well, what about you, Carrie?
When I enter a new group, I feel no expectations.
No expectations.
I don't have any expectations. I don't know if that's the right word. So, I guess I just allow, I don't walk into a group with a predetermined thought process. I just take each person individually, and
So it sounds like you're pretty open-minded.
I'd like to think that I am.
So that would be very useful, being that you're a new person in your workplace, that you're open to meeting new people and making those contacts,
Right.
right?
Right. But it's only as useful as
They have to
want to give back to
reciprocate,
that.
right?
Right.
And so far, you're not feeling that. Just a few people have been friendly to you.
Yes, there are some amazing people, and then there are some people I just don't know.
Well,
at
you
all,
know,
so
that is something, of
It'll-
course, comes in
it'll
time,
change,
doesn't it?
Of course. It'll change.
It sounds like you're definitely open to knowing that that's gonna take a little time to gain their trust as well, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, Kevin, you had anything
I
to share?
feel overwhelmed when I enter a new group.
Overwhelmed. And how, and why did you choose that?
Because I don't know if I can trust these people, and to come in and have you ask deep questions or have to ponder like how vulnerable I can be, it's very overwhelming.
And I say that's very normal to feel that way, and anybody who's in a situation where you feel a little uncomfortable, it's a little intimidating. So like I've said, hopefully as we progress, and maybe you'll be able to find some benefit from coming.
I'm open-minded.
You're open-minded, and that's great. And the things that you've already told me today, to me, are very common, and I imagine it sounds like you all have something in common. Your anxiety and your concerns and worry about the concerns that you have, you know, in your life can affect, you know, how you feel and how you can do your job. So hopefully we'll be able to help overcome some of those things. Emily, would you like to share?
I feel very similar to what Kevin's feeling. I feel anxious. I don't want to be judged. I also wonder too about the trust and what people are really thinking about me.
And what do you think they're thinking? I mean, what is it that concerns you the most?
Well, I want to befriend everyone. I would like for everyone, you know, to be friendly to me as well, and always look for the best in people, and not everyone else does. I just don't want to feel like an outcast. I feel at work now. You know, I feel like I'm the only one struggling with the computers. I'm very confused about the new process. And right now I'm just feeling like an outcast and like I'm being judged, and I'm just confused about all of it.
Does anybody else have those same concerns that Emily voiced? Because I understand that you're all going through some training. Is that a similar feeling for all of you, or is she the only one feeling that way?
I figured it out. I thought it was easy.
I thought it was hard. I've messed up in the home and I couldn't figure out how in the world to get them to sign, and I have to go outdoors and call the office, and these ladies are like, we told you that on day one. I said, well, you know what, that's why they send you here 3 weeks, because it takes us 3 weeks for anything, so.
Well, but look, you've already accomplished how many visits have you already done on your tablet? Four.
None of them went real smooth, but.
Well, it's amazing. You didn't know that at all, 3 weeks ago?
That's right.
But now you've been able to accomplish doing 4 new patients. And is it taking you less time with each one that you do?
I'm learning.
So how does that make you feel?
That makes me feel better, that there's hope, yeah.
Right, and I think that is such a word that, to me, hope is a word that we all want hope. You know, we all want hope that things are going to get better, or we're going to be able to do something that we couldn't do before. And I think that's something that we can definitely move on with. Our time is about to come to an end, but before we go ahead and go our separate ways, I'd just like a little bit of feedback from you to tell me how you feel as far as how our sessions went today. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most anxiety that you have, 1 being the least, compared to how you felt when you came in the room, how is your anxiety now? What level would you say you're on? And when you came into the room, was it a 1 or 2, and now it's a 5?
So
Is
the
it any
lower
better?
is the most and the higher is the least? Is that what we're doing?
Actually, 10 is the worst.
Okay.
one is the least. So Don, do you
Yeah,
feel any different?
7 to 5.
7 to 5, so let me make sure I got that right. You were a 7 when you came in, and now you're a 5, so that's better. So is that an incentive where you think you might would want to continue coming to our sessions?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. How about you, Rhonda?
I like to use words instead of numbers,
Okay,
so I would like to say that I was preoccupied, as I said when I came in, but now I think I've learned that I'm not unique, that I'm not the only one that has anxiety or concerns or paranoid or whatever it is. So now maybe my preoccupation, whatever that word is, with myself, I can know that other people, maybe I can be more aware to try to encourage other people and try to get outside of just my own self. So I probably went from a 8 to a 4.
you know, I like that you pointed that out, because we started our sessions, me going out of the room and asking what word identified how you felt when you came in. And I like that. I'd like to use that. What about you, Emily? You came in with confused Emily, and now what would you think would describe you?
Using words and,
Yeah, I like that.
accepted.
Acceptance.
Yeah.
That's a positive word
It is.
compared to confused.
Good to know that I'm not the only one that is struggling with all of the new changes and all these things I was so anxious about. Felt confused. It's good to know that I wasn't the only one.
So did you feel this is beneficial for you then?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How about you, Kevin? Your word was?
Terrible.
Terrible.
And I would say that would be a terrible 9. And now it would probably drop down to an 8.5. Still terrible, but there's just a little sliver of hope that maybe the next session or the next session it could get better.
Well, I'm proud of you, Kevin. You said that you didn't think you would accomplish anything or feel any different, and maybe that's not a lot, but it is a little improvement, would you say?
0.5, a little.
0.5. Not much, but small leap, right? Okay. So would you think that this is something that might help you if you came again, say next
I'll
week?
give it at least one more shot.
Try it one more time. All right, well, good. And, Gary, what about you? Now, your word was
Clumsy,
clumsy,
well, awkward.
awkward.
Well, I'm always awkward because I get upset with that. But I do feel I'm more part of a team since I was able to be participating in what is taking place with some of my other coworkers to understand maybe what they're going through, so I can have an understanding of what is happening with all the employees to know them better and feel more comfortable.
So that sounds positive.
I would say it's
So this has
positive.
been beneficial
Yes,
for you?
it sure has. So I guess coming in at 8, leaving a 5, and just looking forward to the next session.
All right. So I would think it would, to meet again next week. Does the time work for all of you?
8:30.
8:30? Okay. Then why don't we go ahead and we'll meet again next week. And since we came into the room today saying a negative word when we came into the room, basically everyone had a negative word to describe how they felt. Try to work this week thinking of a word when you come here that is a positive expression of how you feel.
Rejuvenated.
Rejuvenated. She's being proactive already. That's great. And laughter is always the best medicine, so if we can leave our sessions laughing, I think we've accomplished something. Would you say that is true?
I agree.
All right. Well, it was very good meeting with you this evening, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.